Oh, so this is all weird. Change things up a bit. So trying to make sure everything. Yeah. Well, hello everybody. This is Car Chat with Kip. I am your host Kip from America Bumper to Bumper. Today, with all the live streams that I do, we throw in some car news. We throw in some personal anecdotes and shenanigans, and anything else that we can figure to do that might be enjoyable for you guys. Thanks everybody for who will see this at some point. I know that Jason's on crappy hotel internet, so hopefully everything works out for you. I'm just happy that this actually worked this time, so we're all happy there. Just to give you guys a bit of heads up, I am waiting for a gentleman to stop by with some car parts. This is the only time he could deliver them, so when I have to jump out, my son Daniel's gonna come in, and he's gonna who knows, he's like, well, what am I supposed to talk about? So I don't, just be easy on him. I'll be back as soon as I can, and we'll get into all this good news. Rough Rods, Walter, I believe is that's you are correct. It's good to have you here as well. Very excited that people are popping in. We got, looks like 4 people in the, hey, Ozu Garage and Home Guy 4x4. Thank you guys both for being here as well. I appreciate you all being here and taking the time out of your day. Jason, did you pick up the heads, or is that something on tomorrow's agenda? Okay, so while we're waiting on Jason to respond to that, hey, John DeBruin, how you doing? I'm glad that you're here as well. For those of you who don't know who John is, John runs a car museum here in Vermont. It's for the DAF Car Company. I did a video on that. When I get all this done, I'll go through and post that video somewhere in here. And Jason says, I'm picking them up tomorrow during recording. Awesome. Cannot wait to see what you get and how those work out for your Cordoba. So anyways, the DAF video is very cool company, very innovative for the times that they were being sold in the U.S. and very, very, very rare. So if you haven't seen that video, later on, like I say, I'll put the those things, a card here or wherever to so you guys can go back and look at it. Huh? Time card? Yeah, it's a time card. Son's so smart here. Nacho's dad, thanks for showing up and being a part of this live stream. Really appreciate it. All right, so first thing we're going to talk about here is some rather sad news. A gentleman by the name of Alex Mills. He's a 34-year-old. He passed away. Now, you guys are saying, okay, what does that have to do anything with cars? Well, Alex Mills, he single-handedly was the reason that we now get to see Top Gear. Alex Mills started a website called Final Gear, and it was the only place that before BBC America could started showing Top Gear here in the US, it was the only place, legal or otherwise, that you could get Top Gear here in the US. So this guy, he revolutionized everything. He helped us get to know Clarkson and all the other guys there. And unfortunately, he did pass away from leukemia. So, sad to hear that somebody who had such an amazing impact on our car culture died at such a young age. So our prayers go out to his family, and leukemia is never no cancer is a good thing, but leukemia is definitely a hard thing to deal with. So I'm sure he's in a much better place. All right. So coming up tomorrow, if you guys watch the ice racing, the ice time trials videos that I have done, I will be headed back up to Mallett's Bay to watch and videotape the, I can't remember whether this is the 4th or 5th event for the winter season. And this story was given to me by my wife, and it goes kind of along with that, so I had to bring it up. This is actually founded on Popular Mechanics website. So last weekend, a Tesla Model X caught fire and burned to the ground on the frozen surface of Lake Champlain. Yep. Burned up to a crisp. Nothing left of it. Let's see how well this works. There. That's it. That's all that's left. Yep. So this two guys were out ice fishing, and apparently somewhere along the way they hit something on the ice, and hold on guys, I gotta and they ended up burning, hitting some sort of electrical wire, and before they knew it, the vehicle had completely burned to the ground. I gotta hand it over to Nathaniel for a minute because I got to talk with my parts guy, and then we will get right back into it.
All right, so I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, so I'm just going to talk about my program at school and what we're doing there. Basically, what we're doing is we just yes, hi Delaney. We're doing stuff like rust repair, stuff like that. Well, obviously it's an auto body shop. Of course, we're doing stuff like that. And well, actually, earlier today, I have an interesting story. The adjacent program, Auto Tech, they're building a race car, specifically a modified race car. And earlier today, they got it running, and we were able to hear it. It was very, very much loud. And oh, hey, old car out of there. I don't know who's it.
Oh, that's Jason.
Okay. Yeah. So
anyways, that was just the guys, saying that they had to do one other thing before stopping by. So we'll let him finish the story, and then we'll get somebody else in here later.
Well, that was actually kind of the end. I was just gonna finish with it was very loud and intense.
Do you know?
Great.
Do you know what they have for the engine in it?
I know it's definitely a V8. I'm not sure what make. I think Chevy.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a small block Chevy. Okay. So I can you can take back over.
So this was a false alarm?
Yeah, it's a minor alarm. We'll get your mom and your sister here for next time.
All right.
Yeah. So anyways, the what I'm getting is complete exhaust system.
Zelda's exhaust.
Yeah, I'm getting exhaust system from the manifolds back from a guy who helped me out with the my starter issue that I had last year. So yeah, this is the only thing that they could time he could come down to do that. What?
Your dinner's here.
Good. Yes, I'm gonna.
Want to eat in front of people?
No, I'm gonna eat. I'll eat after we're done here. So anyways, we're gonna go through the comments. Oh, hey, Lainey. Lainey's here.
Yeah, she said Daniel.
Hi, Lane.
Yeah.
It's your mama and your sister.
Yeah.
We miss our girl.
Here.
Can you tell?
Yeah. And John piped up 70K up in smoke for the Tesla story. That is absolutely true.
Yep.
That is so sad. Ethan,
What?
any aluminum repair training?
No. It's
Okay.
just steel.
No,
Not steel. Yeah, it's steel.
no aluminum training as of yet, Walter. But we'll if he ever gets into that, you'll be the first to know about it. And we got the dog all excited because they just came back with food for dinner, and yeah, so yeah. All right, so we're gonna go back into some more stories. All right, all you Ford guys out there, your Mustang people, you can now supercharge your Ford Mustang GT to get 700 horsepower out of it. About a year and a half ago, Ford announced plans to offer a Roush supercharger kit through Ford Performance. Supercharger would boost the GT's output up to 700 horsepower, 610 pound-feet of torque. And since it's a Ford-approved part, it won't void your warranty. Sadly, for reasons that aren't entirely clear, the supercharger never materialized until now. And for a whopping $7,700, you can now order a Roush supercharger for your Mustang. And John, thank you for coming in, and I will see you on Sunday. Oh, and Bryson's here too. Hey, Bryson's watching.
Oh, hold on.
Bryson is grandson, so
Hi, Brycey. It's Grammy. Hi, Bubba.
Fortunately, we can't see you back,
No,
but we'll do that another day.
Kisses. Mwah. Mwah.
All right, going off the rails here on a car chat show. Yes, the supercharger, $7,700. You do get a 3-year warranty. 3-year warranty of its own on top of whatever you have for the car. Since you'll be paying since you'll have to pay to have the charger installed to get that warranty, the whole thing will set you back close to 10 grand, but I think it's probably worth it. All right. So here's a C8 Corvette story. See how true it all ends up being. This is from motor1.com, and the headline says GM supplier. Okay, Lane, love you. Bye. Alleges C8 Corvette production begins in December. Now, if that is true, and what we talked about last week with the 9,000 or so C7s that are on the ground, that could be an issue for Chevrolet. Then again, if they stop production in the next couple of weeks, I'm not sure what Corvette sales are like. Let's see if we can get that Corvette monthly sales. Oh, well, that could be fine. I think I remember Rick Conti over at his YouTube channel that they were going to end production somewhere in like May or June. And if that's so, then there's a good chance that they have enough production on hand to get through to the new car coming out. So according to CorvetteBlogger.com, February 2018, so this is last year's numbers, were about 3,000 cars. Oh, February, sorry, 1,300 cars. But of course, that is last year. Don't see anything for this year. Let's see if we can get January 2018. Oh, we got a new person here. It's Knight. I'm here to spread the word. Centurion is one Beefy Roman boy. Okay. Thank you for showing up, even if it's just, for that. Appreciate it. 18. Well, anyways, I'll try and figure that out for later. But if sales are in that $1,300 $1,300 range like that, then we'll see how that. And Rough Rods, also a Buick model once produced. Yeah, we can. Okay. So anyways, C8 Corvette production, if that does end in June and they sell 1,300 cars per month, that's going to get them well into, or even 1,000 cars, that's going to get them well, very close to the new car production. Thank you, Jason, for handling that guy. It's first troll. All right. Getting into a recall, a couple recalls. First off, we have Hyundai and Kia. They've expanded U.S. engine fire recalls by 534 vehicles. And this is from Routers, posted this a day ago. Kia Motors and Hyundai said on Thursday they are recalling around 534 additional U.S. vehicles for risk of engine fire. Kia is recalling the thoughting about the Buick Centurion. Yeah, gotta love trolls. And like I say, first troll, yay!
Milestone.
Yes, milestone. I'm making it. Kia said 378,000 are Kia Soul vehicles from 2012 to 2016. And Hyundai and Kia are recalling 155,000 Tucsons from 2011 to 2013 and 2011 to 2012 Sportages. What year is your Sportage, Jason? Last month they had previously recalled 168,000 vehicles. So racking up the recalls for Kia and Hyundai. 2009. Okay, you're good. Another recall. Subaru is recalling 1.3 million Crosstrek Impreza Forester vehicles for brake light issues. I'm not worried about recall. Yeah, because I know you've got some good stuff cooking up for Bubble's demise. If anybody is not watching Jason's Old Car Auto Guys videos, especially the Bubbles stuff, I love Bubble, and I cannot wait to see what happens to Tannerite. Yeah, definitely. Blow it up. All right, Routers Subaru told Roadshow that it intends to voluntarily recall the 1.3 million. It is VIN dependent, and it's on 2008 through 2017 Crosstrek Imprezas and Foresters. And the recall, as it says, VIN dependent, though, because not all of the vehicle lines used to build these cars use the part at the center of the recall. The issue stems from a brake light switch, a component behind the brake pedal that regulates the brake lights. Use of a silicone-based consumer product, such as cleaners or lubricants, can cause the material to seep into the brake light switch, and then it will get a layer of film on the switch, which will prevent the lights from working. So don't clean your brake pedals, people. I can understand, why they have to put all this stuff out there, because it is a safety hazard. But the thoughts and reasoning behind it, because I don't know many people that are going to get down there and clean off their brake pedals. I don't know, Jason. Do you guys do that with for your car Dan, what do you call it when you clean a car? Detailing. Anyways, just a quick little thing. You guys probably are noticing that the setup here is a little bit different. Hope you guys like it, or it's a little bit easier. I gotta get rid of all that junk right back there. But other than that, I'm really liking how this all looks, and I'm hoping up there to put up a board or something and have everybody's stickers that get sent to me. So that's in the works, because I've got one sticker that I haven't put up yet, and then I've got my America Bumper to Bumper tiny little stickers, and I've got some other stuff coming, so that's all very excited for. Yeah. All right, back to news. How many of you guys remember Peugeot in this country? I don't think they've been selling anything here since the 80s, but they are coming back. Now, parent company PSA, that's Peugeot. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's Peugeot, Citroen, Opel. GM sold Opel to and Vauxhall to PSA. Trying to think what else, what other brand they have. Anyways, they've been planning a return to the U.S. shores, and they have been trying to figure out what brand they're bringing back, and it's been decided that Peugeot will be the mark that makes its return to the U.S. and Canada. Their decisioning behind it, we first just tested the French versus German brands and other European brands, and it was positive. We got lumped into it being a European brand, not a French brand. So that's part of the reasoning of why they decided to go with Peugeot. Peugeot had the strongest brand awareness, setting Peugeot bicycles and Peppermills. Wow, Peppermill was first introduced in 1874, and so in the coming years, let's see if they got a timeline when they're coming back. Peugeot announcement is part of the 10-year plan for the return announced in 2016. The year 2026 is not a hard date, it's an end date. So anytime between now and, yes, Rough Rods, the Prancing Lion brand. From what I remember, Peugeot, excuse me, Peugeot cars from the 80s were part of the reason why they left the country is they weren't the greatest in reliability or looks. So that's kind of why they didn't end up sticking around. Yeah, so they got a great, great logo for for the company. Yeah, so that's their the logo. It's great logo, and very. It reminds me of Holden had what a Griffin or something of that nature, which is like another really great logo. Unfortunately, they are no longer doing business. Barely made it in time. Oh, geez, I'd go longer than just a half hour, just because I like rambling and having some watch time on the channel. So, but yes, you're here, Pete. Thanks for showing up. I really appreciate you being here as well. Don't know if there's anyone else that I may have missed except for that troller. Nope. Okay. So what do you guys think about Peugeot returning? I was a little bit leery. I don't know how to say leery. Skeptical of the Fiat Alfa Romeo return to the U.S. Fiat definitely has not been doing as well as I'm sure they had hoped. But I think Alfa Romeo, especially the with the cars that they have here, the Giulia and the Stelvio, I mean, those are some really sharp looking, vehicles. Plus, they really go. So it's I'm very happy to have Alfa back. Now, Peugeot, it'd be very interesting to see, number one, what they bring, especially with the car market doing so poorly. See what they bring and how it all pans out for them. But they are coming back, and tried to make it to yep. Update: Fiat Chrysler to invest 4.5 billion in Michigan to add new Jeep SUV models. This is from Routers from a couple days ago. Fiat Chrysler said Tuesday it will invest 4.5 billion in 5 plants to build new models for Jeep to compete more effectively in the lucrative market of full-size third-row SUVs currently dominated by GM and Ford. Plants will also create 6,500 jobs in Michigan, which is definitely something that will be happy with all the shift from Chevy and Ford cutting productions and whatnot. Let's see, 3 months. Move also comes at a time when the U.S. market looks set to decline, with 2019 industry-wide new vehicle sales expected to fall below 2018 levels. But SUVs are still a hot commodity, especially third-row models, which are full-size, full 3-row models are dominated by the Blazer and the Yukon and Escalade, but Ford has seen some really good returns on the updated Expedition and Navigator. FCA, their plan, that's something they've talked about for a while, or hinted at for a while, was bringing back the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer. So they'd be pretty much very similar models, just Grand Wagoneer being the top end of that food chain, and definitely be very interesting to see what they can come up with, and hopefully they do a better job than they did with the Commander. I believe it's called the Commander, third row mid-size thing built on the Durango platform. That was, in my opinion, a hideous attempt at an SUV, but again, that's just my opinion. Anybody else that likes it can, definitely no problem with it. Here in Calgary, the luxury truck is replacing the luxury car. Absolutely. Luxury, it's not just luxury. It's any vehicle is being replaced by, cars are being replaced by SUVs and even trucks. So it's very, very interesting to see this going on. SUVs, unless somewhere along the way we hit a massive fuel crisis, and I do mean crisis, not just that little bubble of pain that we had in the mid 2000s. We're going to have to get really huge prices for gas. Then I can see SUVs slowing down a bit. But at this point, I don't see that really much in the future. But again, never know what the future holds. All right. Well, this is actually, might be a little bit shorter of a live stream. Give you guys some channel updates. We are now sitting at 292 subscribers. We are 8 from 300. So if you guys know of anybody that's into cars like this, throw my name out there for other people to get on, to get to know me. I know that Camaro Time, you've done a great shout out for me, and I appreciate it. Same thing with you, Jason. But we're getting closer and closer to that goal of 1,000. But that's coming this year. I know we're gonna do a lot of good stuff here, and very excited for it. As I said, I've got an exhaust coming for Zelda. That'll be a video for when things dry out, so probably not till May. We've got the ice races this weekend. The first car show that I've been able to find down in Springfield, Massachusetts, is next weekend. We'll be going there and getting some videos of all the cars there. Trying to buy a drone. We'll see how that all works. Share the Zelda story for newbies. Yeah, I can definitely do that. Zelda, for anybody that has not delved deep into the backlog of videos, Zelda is my 1984 Lincoln Continental. It's the Giavinci edition, which was basically something in name only. Had a few things that made it different from the regular car, like two-tone paint job and a little bit more upscale wire rims. So that's her. She's a 5-liter Fox body car. So theoretically, Mustang and Thunderbird parts should swap right over. The idea when I can get some money going around here is to make it into what I'm going to call the ultimate sleeper, because who's going to look at this 4-door luxury sedan and have it get its doors blown off? So excuse me. Step one, I needed an exhaust anyways, and a buddy of mine was upgrading the exhaust on his Thunderbird. So that's going to be yes, the 84 Continental Turbo Diesel is a very rare car. They made it 2 years. 84, 85 were the only 2 years that the diesel was available. It was a BMW inline 6 sourced diesel, turbo diesel. They only, because it costs so much more than the regular car, they only sold like 1,200 total in those 2 years, and then decided not to do anything after that. So if you ever find a turbo diesel, one that's in good condition, grab it, because someday it might be worth the money. But then again, there's not a ton of people out there knocking down the doors for Lincoln Continentals. I cannot wait to see that video Classic Ride Society, because I do love my car. Things that are going to come with that eventually, like I say, it's going to be complete new suspension. Need to upgrade some engine stuff because it's a throttle body injected 5.0. I'd love to at least start out with getting the multi-port fuel injection system off of a car and getting that hooked up and going, but it's probably going to be something for later. Oh, I know there's one other thing I forgot to throw in here. I was going to talk about auction stories. Yeah, you hear my wife giggling over there. Cackling, yes, you're right. So I always love the idea of going to auction to buy cars, because generally you can buy something cheap. back when I was in college doing the auto tech program. You want to come in on this, honey, and share in the story, because I see you looming over there.
Oh yeah, because you might forget a very important detail that I will be sure to remember.
Kick your son out of there for a minute.
Hang on there, boy.
Woo! 8 people in here. That's, I think, a record for me.
I hope I won't scare any away.
Anyway, so first time I went to auction and bought a car. I was very proud of myself because I ended up looking over a ton of cars. And the place that I go in up in Williston, Vermont, basically the only thing you do is drive it about, like 2 feet forward, drive it, back. Look under the hood, all that sort of stuff.
It was winter too, wasn't it? Like in February?
Yeah, it was about this time of year because it's tax time.
Tax time, of course.
So looked at all these cars, most of them, because it was tax time, everybody was there. Everybody was trying to get a deal on something. So ended up the only car that was kind of in that price range that I was looking for was a 93 Volkswagen Jetta. It was purple.
Mm-hmm.
It had
a sunroof.
It did have a sunroof. It was beat. Oh, I think my parts guy is here. So, yep. So, Kathy's gonna finish up the story while I go get
I'll try. I'll never do it justice because
but
I'm sure I'll forget some important facts, but the most important one
she'll do a fine job. And this is a story that she never lets me.
Oh no, this is going to be.
down.
I actually may put this on your headstone, honey. Should I outlive you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is at one point he had to have his mom go up to help him bring the car back after we paid for it because we didn't have 2 vehicles to drive back, and at some point, and I think it may have been when he came to pick me up from work, that he parked the car, and we were getting ready to leave, and he tried to put the car on reverse to back up out of the parking lot, and it did not have reverse at all. It had no reverse gear at all, so he had to open the door and use his foot to push the car back and then put it in gear and head out. So the running joke with us is that I always ask him, well, whatever car we buy, does it have a reverse? Does it go in reverse? Because if it doesn't, then we have a problem. So that's just one of the humorous car stories we have. Do we have anything else? We've had some doozy auction stories. We had one with a nice little wagon that we bought that I think we brought it home, paid for it, brought it home, and found out a day or two later that it had a branded title. So that had to go back. We bought a van one time. I think that one might have run for a couple of months. We have awful luck with cars. Awful luck with cars. The going in reverse story is one that will go down in the history books as a monumental fail for a car guy.
Yeah, anything interesting to talk about to keep them occupied before Dad gets back?
No, I have nothing.
Nothing. Do I remember anything about any of the cars? Oh, we could talk about when you drove the car into the side of the house or to the.
Well, I want to remember that story.
Well, that's true. He was only 18 months old, so we have to give him credit for that. But we were all loaded into the car, and Nathaniel was in the not quite. I don't think we'd put him in his car seat yet, so he reached over from the back seat and ended up leaning on the
gas.
No, it wasn't the gas. It was the
Gear shift?
Gear shift, and it made the car lurch forward into the side of the house. No one was hurt. The car was okay. It was just one of those funny things. I don't know. As I said, we've had such bad luck with cars. Some of the stories we can laugh about. Some of them we bemoan. I still regret getting rid of our Rendezvous. Loved that car. Love that car. And Zelda, I think Zelda is my favorite of all the cars we've bought.
Yeah.
The way she rides, just the comments that we get from people. Like, we had more people stop when we park the car, or we'll drive by and people will wave or thumbs up, and I think that's kind of a cool thing to experience. Yep, she's a good old girl.
Yep.
I don't make them like that anymore.
They don't make
Yeah, Jason, go ahead and use that. You remind him of that, the reverse thing. Remind him of that often, because it's a hoot. It's a hoot. I don't know if he has told you, but we have ordered some T-shirts, and I think
What if that was supposed to be a surprise, Mom?
well, I think I've talked to him about having like a little contest as having a T-shirt.
Yeah, but
as a
it's
prize.
supposed to be a surprise.
Well, it's not a surprise anymore.
Good job, you flubbed it, Mom.
That's all right. It's not.
I don't know if it was
it's not the
supposed
last
to be a
time I've
surprise.
ruined a surprise. And I think he's getting some bumper stickers and stickers. So we're making forward progress. Really trying to get this little site up and going, and
Grayson, your car's letting me down.
and
not my fault.
bringing in some
It is your
green.
fault.
It's
I blame you.
your car.
Yes, but you told me what to do with it.
I gave it paint.
Hey, easy.
It's not going to decide what it does.
Or is it?
You
Purple
guys-
is
you
unlucky
guys
It
wanna-
absorbs more light.
Yeah. Daniel, what game are you playing?
I'm playing Need for Speed Payback because, I don't care
Reasons?
about what people say about games.
Okay, so anyway, that's what the argument is going back and forth about.
You're losing.
Anything else you want to fill in the time with? I'm running out of.
I don't have any stories. I don't have any interesting stories. I've never driven a car before.
No, well, that's well, you
Why?
did. That's not you drove. You backed up the Buick.
I have never driven a car before. It wasn't the Buick either. It was
Was
the
this-
Sebring.
Oh, it was. That's right.
It was the worst experience of my entire life.
Well,
What?
you did it well, though.
Thanks.
What?
I would tell you, I backed the Sebring up the driveway, and I said it was the worst experience of my entire life.
Well, I think I know one thing that I remember from my childhood is when I got to the age of 15 or 16. Thanks. Kip will be back in a minute. He had a meeting with someone he's buying an exhaust system for Zelda for. Hey, thanks a lot, old car auto guy. We'll see you later. I remember when I got to the age where I was having a permit, we took our family car. I happened to live right across from the high school, and I would drive it across the street by myself and into the school parking lot when it was empty and practice driving for hours. And kids don't do that anymore. Kids are not. I don't know whether it's the legality of it or kids just aren't as interested as they used to be. But that was
Kids
something.
aren't interested anymore because you can just get an Uber or a Lyft. You don't have to drive for yourself anymore.
Getting a driver's license is kind of a rite of passage, I think, and it's also it's a very good sense of freedom. I know you can get up and go places. I've said before, if you guys had your license, you guys could take off sometime and go to Walmart or do
We had
whatever.
Uber, we could do the same thing.
I need more acceleration.
Yes, but with our car, all you would have to pay for is gas. You wouldn't have
That
to
is
pay
true,
for
that is true.
Yeah, so.
Oh, that's acceleration.
Oh, I think I hear the hubby.
That's all.
He might be here. We're floundering, honey.
We've run out of things to talk about.
Oh, we've completely tanked your site. People are leaving in droves.
That's fine.
You lost all your subscribers.
I just need more power.
Okay, well, I appreciate you guys all
More
putting up with my
power.
nonsense and are sort of stumbling and bumbling, but here is the star of the show.
Yep.
Let him
Yeah,
continue. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so anyways, entire exhaust. Zelda will now be a dual exhaust car, which will be very, very nice. Don't know when you hopped out, Jason, but thank you for being here. Anyways, I got one more very quick auction story for you that if you guys ever go to an auction, make sure that hey, Eford's in here. Thanks. And Straight 6. Great. Thank you guys for stopping in. Appreciate it. Duels for rules. Yes. And, as it's another Fox body. So, got to keep those obscure Fox bodies on the road. Although the Fairmonts aren't quite as obscure as the Lincoln. anyways, the other story, definitely if you're, this is the way I preferred buying cars. Brand of mufflers, you know what, I'm not sure what the mufflers are on it. I didn't really look terribly, close at it, because just wanted to be able to get back in here to you guys, because you're a bit of a priority. But I have heard his car running, and he's got 5-liter, just like my engine. Actually, his was the 50 HO, the high output, so the slightly more horsepower car, but it does sound really good, and I really can't wait to get it on there. So anyways, auction cars for me, I never liked buying branded titles, so rebuilt, salvage, anything like that, just because I don't know enough about what to look for. So one car that I bought, generally when you're buying from Hershak's, they have all the titles on hand, or at least they know what's that should be in in a reasonable amount of time. So went up there, found a smoking deal on an Audi A6 Quattro wagon. Body was in good shape. Price was right. The only thing is they didn't have the title for it. So anyways, I ended up got it home, drove it around, and generally, they have 10 days to get you the title. Otherwise, you have the opportunity to give it back to them and say, I want my money back. Well, 10 days came and went, no title. 14 days, so 2 weeks from the auction, came and went. I finally called them and said, what's going on with this title? And they looked at me, or they said on the phone, we're really sorry. We didn't realize this at the time. The seller never disclosed this, but it's a branded title. So I was like, all right, what do I don't want a car with a branded title. So what do we do? It's like, well, just bring it up. This happened to be on a Friday, and their auctions are on Saturday. So he's like, well, bring it up. Tomorrow's our next auction. We'll refund you your money, or put it towards another car. So that's exactly what we did. And there was, after driving it around for the few days that I did, definitely there's some front end issues. It just didn't feel right. Yeah, I know better now. I've learned a lot. But it ended up, they had a Volvo 960 sedan that I ended up buying instead, for cheaper than the Audi. And yeah, I think when the Audi went back through, for the resale, it only went for like $500, and I had spent considerably more initially on the car. So yeah, I ended up getting the 960, drove that for about 6 months, and then sold it for, again, more than, that was one of the good car stories that I actually bought and sold the car at bought low and sold high. So that was a big plus for me. So that's going to do it for me, guys. That's my last story, my last little bit. 89 Caprice for $500 at auction. Oh, that is the kind of stuff that I would love to be able to find up here at the auctions, but everything here is a 2000 or newer. Occasionally you get a something in the 90s, and the ones that are in the 90s, or even the 2000 cars, are so rusted out and neglected that it's not worth doing a lot with. So I'd love Classic Rides to be down in your area of Texas, to be able to get a car down there. And again, if this thing can starts taking off, I would love to be able to do that for a video, and going down and getting something in a much nicer car climate than here in the Northeast. So again, thank you guys, everyone, for showing up and being here and being a part of this live stream. As I say every time when I end, have a day. Hopefully it's a good one. Take care, guys.